I get a call in Whitewater. This is prior to me knowing about this. And actually, I didn't get a call. I'm sorry. Whitewater police came to the door and said, "Listen, I want to tell you, you've been being followed by members of the Church of Scientology for the last year, and we just like to tell you this. And could you come out? We want to check your car out for something." So they said, "Okay, well, the West Dallas police want you to take your car up to them, and they're going to check it out for a GPS." So I took it there. You know what a GPS is, right? It's a tracking device.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So we took it there. They took it in the police garage, and Nick Pye is in there, and the guy's up checking under the wheel wells. And on the right rear, he brought me over and he said, "You see those scratches? That's where the GPS was, because when you take it out, it's highly magnetized. It'll scratch the metal." So now, Nick Pye said to me, "Okay, so these guys are following you. Do you have any idea why they were following you?" I says, "Well, Nick, I'm the father of the chairman of the board of the Church of Scientology. So they might be following me thinking that maybe I'm going to go to the media or the press or something. And I have no intention of doing that. And the other reason is this: I've had some heart problems, and maybe my son was a little bit concerned about me."
Did your lights just go out?
Can you hear me?
Oh, no, yeah. It just got like super dark in there, but it's fine now.
Yeah, it looked like there was a little malfunction of something. I don't know what the hell it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So getting back to what Nick said, he said, "Do you have any idea why they were following you?" And I said, "Well, I'm the chairman of the board of the Church of Science. I'm the father of the chairman of the board, and they consider me a sensitive particle that I might go to the press or whatever. And also, maybe my son is a little concerned with me because I've had some health problems with my heart." And he looked at me and he said, "Listen, I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm going to have to. Look." And he told me the story. He said, "Your son, when you were at Aldi's putting stuff in the car, the PIs called and said, it looks like you're a target," that's what referred to me as, is having a heart attack. "Your son come on the line and said, if it's his time to die, let him die. Don't intervene. Don't do anything."
Mm-hmm.
Now, when he told me that, that kind of changed my universe. First of all, I couldn't believe it. And it just, even to this day, there's that little inkling of, is this true? And it is true. He did say it.
Have you ever asked him about it?
I called. I tried to get in touch with him. By the way, he has not spoken to me since I left. I called to get in touch with him, and an attorney got on the phone, and he wouldn't let me talk to him. And I said, "Listen, here's what I want you to do. Just get these PIs off my ass. Don't have anybody follow me." And he said, "Ronnie, you knew this was going to be the case when you joined up." I said, "No, I didn't. Mike, if somebody had told me, if you join, you're going to live a sequestered life on a compound. Your mail is going to be read before you send it. You can't get mail in unless it's checked out. You can't make a phone call. You can't leave that compound," I would have said, "Fuck you. I'm not going to do this." I know I didn't know it was going to be that. But that situation itself kind of changed my universe in thinking how he feels about me, because at that point, his power and being exposed for something like that, and a convenient way to have me out of his life, would be probably like the best solution in his mind,
Yeah.
It's terrible, but
why don't you think, why don't you think there's a possibility of one day your son just coming to grips with reality and just being like, look, let me at least repent for some of the damage I've done to this world, and get rid of the policies, these crazy disconnection and fair game policies where if somebody leaves Scientology or questions Scientology, our purpose from now on is to destroy that person's life. That's such an evil thing to do. Like, don't you think there's a possibility your son could just be like, maybe we should just get rid of that shit. Let's get rid of all the Xenu Galactic Confederacy horseshit, and let's just make this a positive thing. We have our tax exemption. At least I'll be able, I don't know. Maybe he'll be able to sleep at night. Maybe he'll be able to make up for some of the damage he's done if he could rethink this thing.
Danny, I agree with you. As a matter of fact, by the way, did you ever get to the end of my book? I know you were going to get it.
No, I didn't. I didn't get to the end of it yet. No.
Okay, you'll see in the end. Well, I'll tell you what I say at the end, and my thinking on it is this: I don't know if it could be salvaged, but if there was a possibility of it being salvaged, they'd have to do several things. One of them would be get rid of all the disconnection policies. Okay, number one. Number two, give a general amnesty, which means anybody who you feel has done something bad against you, they're forgiven, and there's no questions about it. You wipe the slate clean. It's like a pardon, okay? And number three, only sell products or services that you can deliver an end result. In other words, those lower bridge products. Because truthfully, if that would have happened in the beginning when Scientology started, just the things that worked, like the communications course, the lower level, two-way communication with somebody that you feel better about it after you're done. I think it would have been a great self-help group. As it stands now, they don't shoot themselves in the foot with a 22. They shoot themselves in the foot with a shotgun. There's no turning around right now. If they would do what you just said, that would be wonderful. Danny, I tell you, I have almost no hope of it happening. I swear to God. I wish it would happen. And I wish my daughters would come to the senses and say, hey, listen, we're going to talk to you, Dad. And everybody who's been disconnected from a family who's in the church, and they're not really a church, because the one common denominator about other religions is that they have compassion for their fellow man.
Let me ask you this. If you had a gun to your head right now and somebody said, I need you to get a hold of your daughters and your son and have a conversation with them about this, what would you do?
I couldn't get in touch with them. They wouldn't allow the call to go through. I've already tried. I was in New York City doing an interview with 2020 from Australia, and I called the organization, and I wanted to speak to David Miscavige. They put me on hold, and I would have been on hold forever. If I call my daughter Denise, I don't get through. Their lines are blocked to me. I can't speak to them. I went down there. Danny, after I got this interrogation on a CD, what these guys said, I went down to Florida with my wife. We drove down. When we were about 20 miles within the city limit, we had 3 private investigators start following us. I went to my daughter Lori's house. No answer at the door. I went to Denise's house. Her husband came to the door. I said, I want to speak to Denise. He said, well, you can't. He said, you got to handle it with the church. I said, Jerry, come on. This is a waste of fucking time. I'm not going to get any place with that. We spoke for about 20 minutes. You wouldn't even let me in the house. Yeah. I said, what does this mean, Jerry? He said, well, I'll tell you what it means, Ron. Denise and I are through with you and Becky forever. It was at that point that I decided I'm writing a book. That was the point. Prior to that, all I wanted to do was get on with my life, get back in communication with my daughters, and enjoy life. At that point, I figured I've got to do something. And as you know, and the book is called Ruthless, it was #1 on the New York Times bestseller list on May 6th, 2016 when it came out. And it was #1 for the month of June of the nonfiction books.
Even Darth Vader at one point, when Luke was getting electrocuted by the Emperor, found a little seed of love for his son at the end of the movie. Like, there's something buried deep and down, that connection with your son. Like, don't you ever think of like your kid, like think of David when he was like a young kid, 1 or 2 or 3 years old, and like that kid's still in there.
Yeah, I'll tell you, of course I do. And even now, I mean, people want me to condemn him and throw him in hell and just say the fucking guy's no good. He should go to jail. I can't generate that much hate for him. I just can't do it. You have a child